What do you understand by OOP or Object Oriented Paradigm? So this OOP or Object Oriented Programming or Paradigm, this is the full form. So there are various languages, programming languages which follow this Object Oriented Paradigm. So these programming languages are called Object Oriented Programming. So this is a programming paradigm and that revolves around, that has a pointer, and that pointer is called object. That is, the base is object, not the function, not the procedure, not the methods. The previous structural programming languages, the functional programming languages, all these were basically revolves around the function or procedure. But here, everything is around object. That is why it is object oriented. So everything will be on the basis of object. Basically, the main idea is that real life entity, a real life world has to be mimicked, has to be actually programmed. So object is a real world entity that will contain the data and the code and the functions operating on that code. So this allows binding data and code together. So we have certain concepts and certain baseline concepts which defines an object-oriented programming. The basic is that everything has to be an object. For example, Java, it is not a pure object-oriented paradigm following language because everything is not an object. So OOPS or object-oriented programming is based on four main concepts. The first is abstraction. The second one is polymorphism. Third one is encapsulation. And fourth one is inheritance. In any order you can just remember it. So abstraction is all about creating abstract classes, abstract methods, the interfaces. That is, in certain programming languages there are interfaces, somewhere it is not. Basically what you're doing here is you are creating a class, abstract methods or abstraction you are given, just have to implement. That is, you are not giving the implementation here. Similarly, we are talking about the encapsulation. Whenever we are making a class, what does it mean? It acts like a capsule. In this capsule, we are fitting the variables or the data, or we are filling the functions. This function will be operating on these variables. Along with this, we have the access modifiers, which are default, public, private, protected. Then coming to the polymorphism. Polymorphism can be compile time and runtime. That is one phase doing different acting. For example, a function add can act differently depending upon what kind of input you are giving or what kind of return type it is having. So it can be compile time. When it is at compile time, that is called as method overloading, and when it is at runtime, it is called method overriding. So compile time, method overloading, runtime, method overriding. Then we have the inheritance. As I was saying that the real world entity, you inherit something from your father like money, like land or house. So same way, a class, when it is being made, the content can be reused. Reusability. So you just have to inherit that class. So the class which is inheriting is called the base class. The above class which is being inherited is called the superclass sometime, or the parent class. So parent child concept is there. There are different types of inheritance. We have single, multi-level. So this is basically mimicking, all these are mimicking the real world, and that can only be possible with objects. Name any 7 widely used object-oriented programming languages. So the mostly what we are using today is Python and C#, but after C there was all object-oriented programming language. So C++ got very famous. Most of the software still are written in C++, variations of C++, C++11, C++14, like that. So let me name it: Python, Java, Go, Dart, C++, C#, Ruby. So C++, C sharp related to Microsoft.